funny how, for all you've done to your bodies, it's still real to me, damn it. I mean.
All right, I'm a one-handed producer, so you're going to have to take that.
Welcome to River City Media's special presentation of WrestleMania 40 review show with coming in at 6 foot, 195 pounds, Mr. Jeremy Johnson. Jeremy, how's it going?
Well, all I got to say is I wished I was 195 pounds and 6 foot. About 215 and about 5'9.5". It's probably about where I'm at.
We're talking about wrestling, Jeremy, so we exaggerate on everything.
Hey, I like it. And
coming in at 6'5", weighing 295 pounds is QB1 that makes it all possible, Randall Cunningham. Randall, how's the shoulder doing?
If we're going wrestling, I'm one-man gang. I'm 6'9", 405. You know, got to get up there. I'm good, man. It's the first time I've been on the air since my surgery. And let me tell you, just give everybody some advice. Shoulder surgery is no fun. And I'm an expert on surgery.
Yeah, you've been through one or two in your.
Yeah, and I've heard that from multiple people that have had rotator cuff surgery and various other things, and everybody says it's no fun.
Shoulder surgeries are rough. One of the rougher ones I've been through. I'm trying to get my camera set so you can see my ugliness. There we are.
Hey, we gotta get you healed up so we can get you back in the ring here. You know, get back in wrestling shape.
Yeah, that's not going to happen unless Vince McMahon's going to hire a one-armed wrestler. He did hire a one-leg wrestler, so who knows?
There we go. So we're here on this.
My voice was funny because I had a local anesthesia that has kept my shoulder numb for a week, but it also affected my vocal cords. So I may sound like the junkyard dog a little more than normal.
That's all right.
Down in Houma, Louisiana, I'm going to take Jim Cornette in the Midnight Express, and the dog going to get a bone to chew on.
Woo!
Let's get started on it. We got 2 nights of WrestleMania to talk about. I'm going to kick it off by saying if this was a first night WrestleMania on Saturday night, it could have been one of the worst shows ever. But when you throw that second night into it, it's probably one of the best WrestleMania shows there ever was. Randy, your thoughts on that?
Man, I hated the 9-hour WrestleMania. I much more enjoy this. I thought the first night was horrible too, except the very end of night one and the very open of night one. In between the first match and the last match, night one, I struggled. But now, first match and last match of night one, both were 5 stars.
Mm-hmm. Jeremy.
Well, I mean, you know, obviously night 2 was the best, and I'm with Randall. The 9-hour WrestleMania, I'm out. I can't do it. I'd have to break that up into segments anyway. I will say it's a stroke of genius when they decided to go to 2 nights because they're selling out the stadium twice. But I enjoyed night 1. I watched night 1 on Sunday night, and I had my own daughter was texting me, "Are you watching this?" And I'm like, "No, I'm watching night 1. Don't tell me." But I was entertained. At the bottom line, I was entertained, and I like where they went with it, though. I do. I like where they went with it.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and get started. On that night 1, first match was Rhea Ripley defeated Becky Lynch to retain her Women's World Championship, and it came out a couple of days later that both of them was competing under the weather, with Becky being strep throat, Rhea having anxiety attack before she took to the ring. And but overall, once they got out there, you couldn't tell that neither one of them there's anything wrong with either one of them. So Jeremy, kick us off on this.
No, hey, look, what a way to kick off night 1. I thought, and I did hear that during the commentary that Becky, had been sick, had been running a fever. And Rhea, my God, Rhea's just killing it. She's a superstar. I know she's had a wrist issue. I think she keeps it in a brace. She was on Pat McAfee, I think, before WrestleMania. I think on that Friday or an interview, she had a brace on. So she's got a little bit of a tweaked wrist. In addition to, I didn't hear about the panic attack, but she's got nothing to panic about because she is a certified, legitimate superstar, and they killed it. And Becky lost. I think we all felt like that was going to be that was going to happen, but I don't think it harmed Becky at all. I don't think it. I think she looked. She still went over even though she lost in that match, and I loved it. Some of the stuff they did, ridiculous. But that one move where I think she was going to do Alabama Slam, Becky was, and somehow they flipped out of the ring, and Rhea landed on her feet, and I mean, it's crazy. Crazy good. And I will say this about Becky too. She's undersized. When you compare her with Rhea, she's slender. She's skinny, borderline, I guess. But you don't really think about. I never thought about that being a mismatch because of her aggressiveness and how she carries herself. You know what I mean? She carries herself like a big person, like a champion. And I didn't never look at that and go, "There's no way that she's going to beat this person." But great match. I love that match.
All right, Randy.
Rhea Ripley had the only thing I would say is funny about Rhea Ripley is they had her on the pre-show, and she wears these real high heels coming into the stadium. And if that woman don't wear a size 15, I don't know what. I mean, her feet look like they're that long. Night one, match one, tough. I thought this was one of the 3 or 4 matches that were WrestleMania worthy, with a whole lot about it. It's one of the matches when I was pulling out and thinking about this, which was just a couple of pictures I grabbed. I don't want to get blanked by the WWE Network, but it's a big time match, and Howie picked Rhea Ripley, and I kind of felt that same way. I said Becky and then move it back, but is she maybe the 3rd biggest star in WWE right now, behind Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes? She's close.
I would agree with that. I think she's right there, and it's definitely the hottest women's star there is. But I would put her second or third as well, at least at this point.
I thought.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Randy.
I thought the match was great too. I thought that was a legitimate, 4-star, 4.5-star match. Great way to open WrestleMania.
Absolutely.
Any other year, this might be the main event of WrestleMania.
It could be.
But with this year, with the people that was on the main event, that there was no way, unfortunately. But any other year, any other pay-per-view, this could be a main event.
Well, you look over the last 3 to 5 years, I think the 2 biggest stars in the women division are Becky and Rhea Ripley. I think they somewhat passed by the 4 horsemen gathering of Charlotte and Bayley, even though Bayley will have a nice moment in night 2. Really, I think they are the top of the division now.
Absolutely. All right, we'll move on to match 2, which is a 6-pack tag team ladder match for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship, and both belts are on the line. You had A-Town Down Under, the Awesome Truth, the Judgment Day, DIY, the New Day, New Catch Republic, and that was it. They're for the SmackDown and Raw titles, where A-Town Down wins the SmackDown titles and the Awesome Truth wins the Raw titles. match was a little bit better than I thought it would be, but I just don't like this many people out there wrestling at one time. So, Randy, kick us off on this one.
Man, it's all about that last pop. R-Truth and The Miz, which Miz's career is winding down. Let's talk, we can appreciate what The Miz has been over the years now. But that pop when R-Truth got the belt, it was great. And him winning on WrestleMania, great story. And I don't know if you saw the follow-up where he took the tag team belt to his cousin that's suffering from cancer and left it with him. R-Truth is very underappreciated in the history of wrestling. And I said in the pre-show how, if you can remember, that the roof would blow off and babies would be in the air. And they were. But I think all the real stars of the future in Austin Theory and Grayson Waller earlier in that match.
Yeah, Jeremy.
So I'm with you. I'm with you. There, too many people in this match. I know they're trying to get everybody a payday. Go ahead, Randall.
Everybody got to get that WrestleMania check.
Right, and I get it, and I'm not going to be overly critical of it. I thought it, it could have been a fiasco. It could have easily been a fiasco. I didn't really feel like it was a fiasco. I felt like it was actually pretty fairly put together. The two things that really got me was one, and I can't remember who it was, when one of the ladders, I don't know if you remember one of the ladders that one of the superstars was climbing a ladder and it started breaking.
Priest they was trying to get Damian Priest to change the ladder out. Referee Jessica Carr was hitting him on the leg saying, not that ladder, not that ladder. But he was just kicking her away and started climbing it, and then all of a sudden the leg buckled.
Yeah, and that was dangerous. That could have really hurt somebody for real. And so that was funny. It was funny when the other ladder got slid in there and he grabbed the ladder and then knocked whoever it was, and my mind's gone as far as who it was that he knocked down after he handed the ladder in to him. But the other thing, look, R-Truth, to me, and you pair him with The Miz, probably two of the most reliable, talented people in the WWE over the period of time that they've been there. R-Truth is hilarious. It does not matter what you put him in there, what the gimmick is, whether it's Little Jimmy or whatever it is, he makes it work. And not only that, the guy can wrestle. He can wrestle. He can rap. He can do all this stuff. But that when he got the hot tag, man, it went in and did all his childhood hero. He used John Cena's, pinning sequence there and got the pin in a ladder match. That owned me. I loved it. I laughed. I almost forgot that it was a ladder match. I'm like, my God, R-Truth just won the title. But it was so good. I loved it. I think these guys are more than comedians, even though they do fantastic. And I think every show needs to have some comedy in it. But there are more than that. And so I was really happy because I think Ron Killings deserves that WrestleMania moment for all he's put into it and put into the career he's had. So the match could have been terrible, but it wasn't.
It's one of those things where I understand this is entertainment, this is a show, but what got me was when Austin Theory and Grayson Waller got the first belts. Why didn't they go after the second belts? But they just kind of hovered around and really didn't go after it.
Yeah. I really say I don't know what they're doing with these belts. I mean, they unified them and now you split them again. I don't know I'm sure there's something that they're planning. The last thing I'll say is Grayson Waller is the most annoying son of a gun there is in wrestling. I cannot stand the guy, and I mean that from a heel, annoying, which is what he's trying to be, and he definitely is. But I loved it. When R-Truth got those belts, when he got those belts, I legit felt like there was some legit emotion, and excitement coming out of R-Truth for that moment and for them. And so I thought that was kind of cool too, to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's move on to our third match of the night, which is Rey Mysterio Jr. and Andrade against defeated Santos Escobar, and they got him listed as Dirty Dominik Mysterio on here. Basically, it was a rematch of last year's WrestleMania between Mysterios, but they threw in the tag matches. But Randy, shaking your head, what you got?
A 1.5.
1.5.
I made popcorn, and I love Rey Mysterio, but you said it. That was another way of telling the same story we did on 39. And again, to me, this starts a run of about an hour of my life that I was like, wonder what that main event will be. Didn't care for it. Rey Mysterio, great, Hall of Famer, deserves it. Dom, heat magnet. Andrade, great wrestler. It had no. Despite of the effort of trying to tell a storyline, it had none. Just got it over. It ate up. Got some good people checks.
Yeah, I mean, y'all are saying getting WrestleMania checks, but these are all guaranteed contracts now, so we kind of need to stop doing that. I'm sure they get a little kickback off of it, but they're getting their money. It's not like the old days where you had to show up to perform and get the money for it. So,
I could say get Rey Mysterio on the Big Show. So
there you go. That's it. That's more. So, Jeremy, your thoughts on this match?
I can't come at it from much of a different angle. I do think they're just rehashing Dom and Rey, and I still think there's something to do there. I will say this. All right, is Dom, is he part of Judgment Day, or is he part of this other Latin American faction? So I felt like it was just thrown together. I like the pairing of Andrade and Rey Mysterio, and I think they should move on with that a little bit and maybe have them contending for those tag titles. I do like that pairing because Andrade worked his ass off in that, and he can go. And I just don't. I just didn't like it. Here's what I really hated, and I know why they did it. Why in the world, you got 15 people involved in this match anyway? All right, with all Carlito. What's Carlito doing, by the way? I'm gonna pretend like I'm Jim Cornette. Carlito, he looks like $1 million. He can wrestle. Why is Carlito just standing there? And then you have two jobbers, two NFL players in luchador masks that make 0 sense to come in, and I didn't like it. I know Jason Kelsey.
They teased Carlito turning heel too in all this, and it never happened.
I know,
and it still hasn't.
It never happened.
And to me, Carlito, Dom, Rey, and Andrade. The rest of them, I don't know who they are.
The best part was, Jason Kelsey may look worse shirtless than I do, so I love Jason Kelsey.
But it didn't bring anything to that match.
Oh,
you nearly had Jeremy spitting his coffee out.
I mean, I just didn't like it. I get it that you're in Philadelphia, you want to make a connection. I just didn't feel like that was a useless segment. Let them come out and announce the attendance. I
always say in a WrestleMania, there's the Three Stooges section where we just come out and we kind of slap people around and whoop, 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 and try to make it. This was definitely in the Three Stooges section of WrestleMania.
All right.
I love Dom though.
Let's move on to the next. If you call it a match, move on to the next match. Jade defeated Jimmy Uso by pinfall in a singles match that was one of the. Could we classify it probably as one of the worst WrestleMania matches ever?
Two guys,
Huh?
two guys that can wrestle, and it's horrible.
Yeah. I mean, some people, and you hear this, I don't know, but I would think having a chemistry with a partner, I think that matters. And you would think they're twins. You'd think there'd be chemistry there, but there's not. And they're identical. Their move sets, everything they do is the same. So there wasn't any kind of contrast between the two. I like the match in theory. I like the match, but I mean, the entrances to me, Jay's entrance was the highlight of the match.
I think it blew off the next storyline though, where you this was the only chance that you had to get Uso versus.
Yeah. So let me back up and say Jay's entrance minus whatever that was that they said was Lil Wayne. That was awful. That was straight up awful. Jay's entrance by itself is great. When he gets the ring, the crowd's doing the yeet, and all that. He gets the crowd involved. Lil Wayne, I don't know what he was doing.
Hey,
but
let me ask a question, and I don't want to keep us here. Should this match not have been great after 2 years of build-up? And I gave it a half a star. I mean, I think we saw better matches on Monday Night Raw this week.
I think it should have.
Yeah.
I think it should have. I mean, like you said, this has been building, and to my knowledge, they've not wrestled each other, right? This was their first. It's a little bit of a letdown.
How many times in the past have we saw tag team partners turn against each other, turn around and have one of the best matches you've ever saw? And we were expecting that with not only tag team partners, but brothers that are 9 minutes apart, I think, turn in one of the worst matches in WrestleMania history.
Neither one of them heart seemed like it was in this match.
Right.
Yep. So we'll move on to the glorified squash match, is what I'm calling it. Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi defeated Damage Control, Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane by pinfall. This was just to get Jade Cargill on WrestleMania. It's kind of like what Randy said earlier with Rey Mysterio. This was just to get Jade a spot on WrestleMania for her debut. Even
worse. This was bad.
So if this was on the Gong show, the Gong would have been rung.
Did we not just see this same thing like a night before, 2 nights before, and then have we not seen it then? You're destroying Damage Control to get over Jade, and she's not my favorite, never was, but I didn't like it. This at least ends the part of WrestleMania where I was just like going, no value, no value.
Did they put Jeremy, before we get to you, did they put the Usos in this 6-woman tag match on to give people plenty enough time to go to the bathroom, get popcorns and everything before the 2 last matches?
I made burgers, but that's just me.
I think it's strategic. Yeah.
Because
I think so.
Go ahead and talk about this match real quick. If you got anything else you want to say about it, Jeremy.
Well, I mean, look, I love Jade. She looks phenomenal. I think I will not say what I texted you guys about that pairing. I won't say it here, but you got legit collegiate athletes in Bianca and Jade. I know they're trying. I appreciate the fact that they're trying to take it slow with Jade. She's not there yet. I don't know. Maybe she never gets there. But she's got she's the Lex Luger of women's wrestling right now. She looks fantastic. But like Luger, something's missing. Maybe they'll figure out what that is. I think her working with Bianca and Naomi, who are really good, I think that helps her. I think that's probably one of the things they wanted to do as well. I don't like the fact that they're squashing Damage Control. I thought that was a legit faction. You know, I'm with you on that. But let's hope. Let's hope they can do something with Jay, because you don't get somebody that looks like that and legit athlete. You don't get that often. So
she'll be Lex Luger until she gets out of that mode.
Yeah.
Sorry, scratch. Let's go.
Yeah.
I know what Jade's going through, as far as looking good but not being able to put on a good show.
Yeah. I love it.
Let's move on to our co-main event. And I say this, they may not say it, but I call it a co-main event because it was a great. Any other. This one in the first match could have been a main event of any other pay-per-view anywhere, but we got Sami Zayn that defeated Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. While Jeremy's getting a refill of coffee, Randy, you want to?
Great match. Sami Zayn never fails to give a great match. I thought Sami was, and let's face it, Gunther, Walter, whatever you call him, he's been preparing for this for many, many years. These are two guys from the Indies, much like the guys. If you look at Sami Zayn and Gunther's path, it is with the AEW guys, and it is decades out there on the indie circuits, and for Gunther, decades in Germany and in Europe. And I just thought it was two guys that could really work a match. Credit to Sami Zayn in the fact that he's able, while being a 2/3 of the size, to give realistic, like he could beat this guy any moment, feels to it. Gunther for being heavy-handed and never backing. And look, the way it was booked, you just move Gunther out of the Intercontinental into either the WWE or the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, give him some time off. Gunther looked just as strong. I thought, hey, if I was rating a match, and I mean rating a match, points, Dave Meltzer scale-wise, this is 5 stars all day long.
Wait a minute, it's not Japan.
This was perfection in booking and storytelling.
Yeah.
When we did our preview, we said that this could be an old-fashioned classic wrestling match. Yeah. It was. You had your hard hits. You had your. It wasn't a whole lot of high flying. I really don't remember anybody doing any flying. If anything, it was maybe Sami jumping out of the ring, tope suicida or whatever the crap they call it. But other than that, it was a great match. Jeremy, go ahead.
Yeah, I love this match. And I love – look, how good is Sami Zayn? 2 years ago, he's wrestling Johnny Knoxville. Was that him? Wasn't that him wrestling Johnny Knoxville?
Yes, it was.
Last year, main event, WrestleMania, with Kevin Owens?
I think so. But he's wrestling Johnny Knoxville, and here's one thing I appreciate. I love.
Can I add one more thing to that? He got powers. He got slammed by Wee Man.
Yes, I loved it. I said I had at that moment 2 years ago, I found a new appreciation for Sami Zayn because he made that very entertaining. And then he gets entwined in that bloodline story, and he made me roll I mean, and you saw those out. You saw where he cracked those guys up on live TV, and it, all that. He's so talented. I love how he played the underdog. I love how you looked at his face and you thought, okay, he's afraid or he's not sure or he knows this is serious. I love the interaction with Kevin Owens as he was walking, walking a little interaction with his wife and then walking in, going through Gorilla. I love that. Hey, look, Gunther is a superstar as well. Strong. He looks strong even in that match. I think he's a world title. He wouldn't have dropped that if they're not going to have him as a world title contender quickly.
Well, good point. He just had a child.
Yeah. Give him some time off, like you said. Hey, but how great was that brain buster on the turnbuckle? Sami Zayn, you're talking about Gunther's what, 275? 265, big man. That blew my mind. I've never seen that before. I thought it's fantastic. It's believable. And, I don't know where they're going to go for Sami and that title. It looks like Chad Gable. I think that's a step down for the Intercontinental title to have the next contender for the Intercontinental title is Chad Gable, who I think is a great worker as well. But when you compare that to Gunther and who he's faced, and you compare that him and Sami Zayn, I don't know what they're going to do with it. A return match. Hey, I'd be in for a return match between the two.
You want to know what I wrote down in my notes preparing for this? I think is the biggest truth of all of it. If the WWE lets Sami Zayn finish his career and never gives him the World Heavyweight Championship, it will be one of the biggest injustices.
Hmm.
This is a guy that at least, like they did with Christian, they didn't carry it twice for 6 months. He just needs to carry something for just to put a crown on that career, because I have no doubt that Gunther is going to hold it many, many times. But Sami Zayn may be the best of this generation.
He's good. I won't go that far, but I love him. I'm always entertained, and he's very good.
One last thought on this on my part. We'll move on to the last match. He was known as El Jericho or what
Generico. El Generico.
With the mask on, and they wouldn't let him talk. And now look at him now.
He can talk. The guy can talk. Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll move on to the main event, night one, which was the Bloodline against Jeremy. You and that dance popped me every time.
Now you didn't. Did you see my dance after Alabama won that game to go to the Final Four?
I didn't.
I'll have to send it to you.
To plug the Fife Red Devil Sports Show, Jeremy jumped sides from the biggest hater to the biggest booster of Alabama basketball ever.
I did.
He jumped 100%, and hey, I salute him for that.
I did. Hey, I'll admit when I'm wrong. I did. And then I thought he was going to Kentucky, and I was like, I will hate him forever. He finally got me thinking that he actually can coach, and now you're going to go to Kentucky. I'll hate him forever, but thankfully he did.
All right, we'll move on. We got the Bloodline against Bloodline defeated Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins for the Bloodline, Roman Reigns to be able to have Bloodline rules against Cody on night 2 for the main event. The Rock made his first wrestling appearance in many, many years. And
hey,
that's the wrong night. But anyway, The Rock made his first wrestling appearance in many, many nights or many, many years. And I thought he did a great job as far as being gone for as long as he was.
Uh-huh.
Jeremy, let's let you start this one off.
Well, I mean, look, the way they went with this, and I know they had to shift on the fly, so to speak. I thought what they've done with this leading up to, I thought it's fantastic. You know what, heel rock, I'm in. I love heel rock, profanity and all. They're having to censor, they're having to censor the bleep out of it, but I loved it. I love the build. These two together. Hey, how good did Roman Reigns look? My lord, he looked as good as he's ever looked. Talk about two intimidating sons of guns right there together. I look that belt. I, I thought they tried to manufacture something that Muhammad Ali's ex-wife or a former wife gave him this as a people. I thought that was garbage. But the two of them together, I could buy in this tag team. Uh, if you looked at the two teams, you go, okay, those guys on the right are about to get their, what kick. So I thought it was a good match. I think, yeah, pretty good. It went the way I expected. That Cody and Seth lost. Yeah, I thought it was funny that The Rock was the one that pinned Cody, not Roman. I thought that was a foreshadowing there, maybe, and stuff. But that was a pretty good match. And Rock, hey, look, he's 52 years old, man. I'm 50. I couldn't imagine getting in there and doing that stuff. You know what I mean? So credit to The Rock, the final boss.
There we go. Randy.
Dwayne Johnson did not come back to do this.
Mm-mm.
But he saw that this was the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
This match was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I never had a doubt that The Rock and Roman Reigns would win. And I'm with Jeremy. This is foreshadowing.
Mm-hmm.
You go ahead till this Friday night, and you saw that. I don't know if you have saw Friday night yet, but that incident from night one of him pinning Cody's a major part of the storyline.
Mm-hmm.
He came back, no doubt, to wrestle Roman. I think night one was supposed to be Cody versus Seth. I think that's what most of us will agree. I'm going to all night praise the WWE for their booking and putting this together because it was a brilliant stroke of genius. But I'm going to stop right here, and I've been in a ring a few times, and I'm going to tell you, in this circumstances, I felt like it was easy for Roman Reigns to play his role. I think it was easy for The Rock to play his role. I think it was easy for Cody Rhodes to play his role. Seth Rollins created a role and created a position in this match. It affected the final outcome. And Seth Rollins was brilliant the whole weekend.
Yeah.
Quietly, if you're handing out an MVP of WrestleMania and who did the most wrestling work, Seth Rollins might have been it. And he was brilliant in this match. And you thought up to the very end, maybe they're going to pull this out. Maybe something's going to happen. Ended the way it had to. Great match and set up what would be the match of this century the next night.
Hey, can I say one thing regarding Seth? I agree with Randall on every part of that. As far as his wrestling and him being the MVP, I'll tell you who's not the MVP. It's whoever designed that freaking whatever that was he wore out that first night.
That's stupid.
I don't know what that was, but that I would not have worn that. Whoever designed that, I'm sorry. Thumbs down. You're the anti MVP. So
my 4-year-old daughter says it was some anime Dragon Ball Z
I don't care what.
Backstory of, you know how people don't get out and have beers on the lake when they're 15 anymore. They live in this pretend Japanese world.
Yes.
That was wrong.
Yeah, it was awful.
I'm glad
We were going to move on to night 2, which our night 2 discussion is sponsored by our drinks of the night.
Oh.
Ooh, what hands by the big man. Night 2 kicks off with what was a great match between Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
Drew McIntyre wins the title, the World Heavyweight Championship from Seth Rollins in 10 minutes and 30 seconds. It didn't seem like that match went that long, but it was a great match. Jeremy kicks off.
Well, I do. I thought it was a great match. I like Drew. I love Drew McIntyre. He carried the title. He won it. You know, he had his WrestleMania moment at the Performance Center in front of no one. And, you know, I think he's title material. And I love to see, and I was glad. I'm like, yes, he got his moment, you know, in front of the crowd, in front of everyone. And, you know, I think he goes over, didn't he kiss his wife? And, you know, he had that great moment. An injured or banged up Seth, back to Seth Rollins, banged up from the night before, questionable knee. But he gets over, he comes over, and defeats Seth. But I liked it. I liked that moment. I was really happy for Drew. And then
we'll get there in a second. Randy, your thoughts on the first part.
Again, 20 hours later, after working that main event with The Rock and he came in and worked another brilliant event, or worked it to another.
Yes.
This is another angle that we don't see coming. Seth Rollins' Secrets of WrestleMania was a multi-chaptered book this year. Thought it was a great match. I expected Drew to go over, and he did.
Absolutely. And then, all of a sudden, we have a controversy outside the ring there between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk.
Philip.
And CM Punk ends up taking his arm brace off, hitting Drew with it, stomping on him a few times, and then about that time you hear Judgment Day and Damian Priest's music, and Damian's running to the ring to cash in his Money in the Bank. We end up ending and beating Drew McIntyre's title run of, I think, 10 minutes.
No, it wasn't 10 minutes.
5 to 10 minutes, somewhere in there. So, Jeremy, your thoughts on Damian Priest cash in?
Well, number one, he's had that thing so long, I forgot. I forgot he had it. I had completely forgotten that he had that Money in the Bank case, almost, because I've not been able to watch week in and week out. Now, I did know. I thought, what is Drew doing? Getting in Phil's face, as Randall said, creeping over there. And look, I like where they're going with this, because I'm like, okay, Drew injured Punk. Punk was injured because of Drew. That's a natural storyline. Punk's got a suit on, a 3-piece suit at that, with a dang elbow brace over the top of it. I thought Randall may do that at any time, take that brace off and club somebody with it. But I thought that was cool. He'd taken his jacket off and clothes, and clubbing. But what I really loved, when Priest came running full speed around the ring, and when he made that circle right there in front of the announce table, he didn't even slow up, and he caught Drew with that case. He had a dang red place on his head from that case. I know that's where that was from. But I love that. I didn't expect it at all. I like the surprise. I really don't. I don't know where Priest is going to go as far as what are they going to do now with him? What are they going to do now? Who's going to challenge him now? Is it going to be Drew? Is it going to be Gunther sometime in the future? You know, they got Judgment Day's got 2 world titles now with Mommy, and I just liked it though. I think it was a great moment. Now what they do going forward, I have no clue. But I loved it. I laughed. I couldn't help it. I laughed, and Punk sitting on the announce table, grinning and looking at Drew after he lost. That was good. That's gonna be a great feud right there. They'll get some mileage out of that, Drew and CM Punk.
Okay, Randy.
All right, so let me go ahead and clear the air. Everybody knows how I feel about Phillip, but that was perfectly booked and perfectly the role to put CM Punk in to keep him in the spotlight. And it kind of played in his reputation.
Yes.
Kind of played. I think that's part of the reason the way they did it kind of enough realistic that I thought it was, you know, I think it was very, very well put together. Damian Priest is another guy that is from Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks world. Cody Rhodes, they were the Ring of Honor 2020. Rhea calls him the transsexual Undertaker. And
I've never heard that. That's great.
Oh my God, you hadn't heard that?
No, I haven't.
It was all over Twitter, man.
Yeah.
No, I missed it. That's great.
I think they need to lean into the Mommy Damian Priest line. And I actually thought they were going to turn Dom face and put him back together with his dad. And you have a very asexual female champion in Rhea, and you have the opposite in Damian Priest, and they actually lean to each other. And I think Damian Priest can work very well.
Yes.
I hope he can hold that title. I love
he came out, what was that, Friday night SmackDown?
Yeah.
Or Raw. It's all running together for me. I apologize. But he came out dressed in a red suit, looking like $1 million, looking like a champion. So I've always liked Damian Priest. I think he was what you mentioned ROH. His name was Punishment Martinez.
Yeah,
I think, and
world title at that level never. He has discovered him. He was a good worker at ROH, but he was top level would be a lie.
Right.
He's actually grown in the WWE.
Yeah, it's been so. I'm curious to see where it goes. I will be very curious to see whose first challenger is, and where that's going to go. But I love that moment though, and like you said, the booking, kind of a little reality.
Yep.
What we've always heard is the best wrestlers are the ones that they're themselves. It's just amplified by 10, i.e. Stone Cold. And I think the WWE's best opportunity with CM Punk is to play on his own personality, which you and I agree, he's not easy to work with. I have no doubt that he's a difficult and very opinionated and all that. But play on that. Play on that snarky, that look that he had sitting on that announce desk and that little grin. It was great. It's perfect.
Hey, if I'm booking this, Punishment gets a few challenges from the world of Chad Gables and The Miz and stuff, and he holds it for 4 to 6 months. And then I take it straight to Gunther.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's cool.
Here's the thing about Damian Priest. He's got the look.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the voice. He can speak, and he can actually wrestle as well. He's got the he's kind of not making fun of Lex Luger, but he's kind of like the total package. He's got it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Related to this, now at this point, should they break him away from Judgment Day?
Not yet.
Yeah, we both said no and not yet at the same time. So, that's I think my thoughts are they need to get rid of some of the Judgment Day and bring in maybe a couple more people and then do something different.
I'm with Pat McAfee about this JD McDonough guy. I'm not buying it. I'm not a fan. I know he's Finn's friend, I do believe, but
member.
Archer.
Well, you saw what happened on you saw what happened on Monday Night Raw.
Yes.
So, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. This is the great thing about wrestling right now.
Yeah.
There's so many storylines that we can talk about between Judgment Day, Bloodline, the LWO, and these other people that Jeremy said he didn't know who they were, and I don't know who they are either. But they got some main cogs in there, so it's not like it used to be where you had one main storyline and then you just had wrestling. You got several storylines now. It kind of reminds me back in the day, which I don't even know if they still make them or not, but they'd had these books that was a choose your own adventure book type deal. You read so far and then you got to a point you could choose, to move forward to have this adventure or that adventure and all that. This is kind of what wrestling is now. You can choose which story you want to follow.
Yeah. Hey, and at this point, I mean, let's just be honest. The only thing that WWE could do wrong right now is to bring Vince McMahon back in and put him out front. That's about all they could do wrong right now. They're on fire, and with everything that's going on. And
Vince has already sold all his stock basically. He's still on like I think 5% of his stock.
So the arena for Raw and SmackDown, they didn't have their normal setup, if I'm understanding it correctly, with the video boards and stuff, because they pared it down to make more room for more seats. So
that's the way they're going to move forward for a little while longer. As long as they're selling out, they're going to keep it that way.
Right.
So, all right, let's move on to the next match, the Philadelphia Street Fight, with special guest referee Bubba Ray Dudley.
My name is.
Yep. So we got the Pride, Bobby Lashley, Angelo Dawkins, and Montez Ford with BFAB defeated the Final Testament, Karrion Kross, Akam, and Razor, with Scarlett and Paul Ellering finally making his WrestleMania debut after 40 years. Win by pinfall. The Pride defeats him by pinfall. I want to go with Randy on this first one because I don't know if there's a bigger mark out there for Paul Ellering or not. And I know he's excited about Paul finally getting his first WrestleMania appearance.
Hey, let me tell you, and I was scared they were going to, and it's happened. I was watching the clock and I thought, well, they're going to book this over and cut this match. And up to the very end, I thought it was. And I think the match only went about 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
8 minutes and 35 seconds.
Paul Ellering, we just don't appreciate what he's done for the sport of wrestling. And it was great to see him make an appearance. The match was horrible. What can the WWE do? Well, Monday night, they had on the first match, job out. Then in WrestleMania, they jobbed out the hottest free agent of 2022 in Karrion Kross. If you don't give these guys, and I think this is, there's a lot of news this week about Hook signing with the WWE at the end of the year. His contract's up. And I think that's great for Hook.
Mm-hmm.
But if you cannot create stars, these guys are not going to sign with you. And I'm telling you, Karrion Kross, when he was in TNA, anybody could have looked at that man. And on top of him, the hottest girl in the history of the world. And then you've got Paul Ellering out there with the APO. It was horrible. But again, Paul Ellering got his moment. This was the only thing on night 2 that I was really like, we could have done without this.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeremy, your thoughts?
So my comments are questions. Number one,
Okay.
what happened to Karrion Kross? Now, Randall mentioned him in TNA or Impact. My first introduction to Karrion Kross was in NXT, and it was phenomenal.
Right.
It was amazing. His entrance, Scarlet, good Lord Almighty. And then they killed him day one on the main roster. Changed his look, had him wearing that, whatever that Vince McMahon, some sicko design that he liked. No Scarlet. And he's look, the bald hair, the goatee. Hey, everything was working. And now, I don't know. So what happened to Karrion Kross?
They told him that he looked too much like me, and we had to separate each other.
Okay. Well, okay. All right. Well, that explains it. That makes sense. Okay. But it makes about as much sense as anything else. I mean, what have they done to him? I still feel like it, I still feel like he could be legit. But then secondly, why did they bring those two big jokers back? Of all the people that they could have re-signed, why did they bring those two guys back?
Back to your Karrion Kross part, he's back in NXT now. He appeared Tuesday night in NXT. Him and Scar.
Hey, bring him back, yeah. Hey, I love it. I love the fact that they go back. And that you got Natty on NXT. I love that. I love the AJ Styles making appearances. I think that's fantastic, and maybe that's good for Karrion. Maybe he can get his mojo back because he's not getting it back with Paul Ellering, and I love Paul Ellering and everything, but he's not getting it back with these guys because I just have never seen anything about these guys that I mean, I'd rather watch Jinder Mahal and Shanky and whatever the other guy's name was than these guys.
Yeah.
Veer and Shanky. Bad match. Bobby Lashley deserves better.
Let's move on. We got 3 more matches before we get to the main event, so let's go pretty quick on these next three because I know that we won't spend a lot of time on this main event. So the next match of the night is LA Knight, defeated AJ Styles in a singles match. Randy, your thoughts?
Good match. LA is legit. AJ Styles is legit. You had two 40-something-year-old professionals come on and put a professional match together, and thought it was a good match.
Absolutely, Jeremy.
Yeah, I thought it was great as well. And Randall said it, two guys that are seasoned veterans. And but AJ's jacked. I don't know what he's done differently, but AJ looks phenomenal for no pun intended. But LA Knight, I like this feud. I think we got world title contenders right there from both of those guys. Great match.
Well, in case y'all hadn't saw it, they are battling each other to see who goes against Cody Rhodes at I think it's going to be Backlash. So we'll find out. Great match as well. I enjoyed the match as well. So let's move on to the next triple threat match for the WWE United States Championship. Logan Paul defeated Kevin Owens and Randy Orton by pinfall. Pretty dang good match considering three-way match. Jeremy.
No, I thought it's fantastic. Logan Paul is probably one of the most natural people to come into wrestling I've ever seen. He gets it. He understands how to be a heel. He's athletic. He can do anything. And then you got Randy in there, Who, by the way, have y'all noticed Randy's bulked up? He's about 275 now versus I think at one time he was 250, according to how he's being billed. And then you got Kevin Owens, who's really good. I loved this match. Loved the match for a 3-way. Thought it was fantastic. Really did.
Randy?
3 solid professionals, and I never thought I'd say that about Logan Paul.
Cool, he is.
Solid. Not a lot of storyline to build this together, but they managed to come out, get one of the most important titles in a high-profile spotlight. And, Kevin Owens. If Sami Zayn ain't the best, it may be Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Thought it was a good match.
All right, quick question for both of y'all with Logan Paul. A quick yes or no answer. Logan Paul, best celebrity wrestler ever. Jeremy?
Yes, by far.
No longer celebrity wrestler. I believe he's full-time WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And yes.
Yeah.
All right, good deal. All right, for our singles match for the WWE Women's Championship, we got Bayley finally getting her flowers by defeating Io Sky for the championship. Jeremy?
I did. I really, just bottom line, I like to see Bayley win. I wanted to see Bayley win. I think she's been underrated. I think she's a great worker, great talent. Io, she's small, but I think she's a really great worker as well. I like her talent over, gosh, I can't believe I'm saying this, over Asuka and gosh, my mind's went blank. But Io is a star for sure. But I'm glad to see Bayley hold that title. I just wonder how long they'll keep it on her at this point. But great match. I love the match. I thought it was a good match.
Throw in a side note, that was Bayley's first singles victory at WrestleMania. All of her others have been with tag partners. Randy?
So I heard this, and I think when I say it, you all will agree. Bayley was like Arn Anderson finally getting his reward in a single match in a big environment. Bayley is Arn Anderson of the Four Horsewomen. She's held this together, coming off a huge leg injury. In the last 2 or 3 years, I've come to be a huge Bayley fan. I feel like she does this for all the right reasons, and she tells a storyline, and she does everything for the right reasons. You know what? Probably my second feel-good moment of this whole WrestleMania was Bayley winning the SmackDown World Women's Championship.
Have we talked about your first feel-good moment yet?
No.
I wonder what that was or is.
Cody Rhodes is my favorite wrestler.
So we'll move on to the main event, and I kind of rushed through those last 3 matches, not because they were bad or anything. We want to get to the main event. We've already been on here a little over an hour. We want to get to the main event. There's a lot of stuff that happened. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to remember and go through what all happened real quick. Then I will let y'all. That's Damian Priest.
Hey, what's wrong with our producer?
Are you on one arm or what? I'll try to go through everything that happened in the order that it took place on the main event. Then I'll turn it over to y'all and let y'all talk about it. So we had Cody Rhodes that come out to a Bloodline Rules match against Roman Reigns, of course, accompanied with Paul Heyman, which is, holy cow! If he stays in it much longer, he may surpass Jim Cornette as best talking manager ever. So, Randy putting these pictures up kind of distracted me a little bit. So anyway, so Cody and Roman comes out, and the total match was 33 minutes. So I think for about 20 minutes, it was Cody against Roman all over the place, as you can see on that picture there. They get back into the ring. Cody's about to win. And then here comes one of the Usos out. And then here comes Solo. Let's see. One of the Usos comes out, and then
the other Uso.
The other Uso
Jimmy.
comes out. Yeah,
Yeah,
they had
Jimmy.
a better match on. They had a better match on night 2 than they did night 1. It was only 10 seconds.
The spear off the ramp.
Yep. So then Solo comes out. And then when Solo out there, here comes John Cena. John Cena takes care of Solo.
And it looks like my accountant these days.
Then John Cena's out there, and then
and he's got a big bald spot.
Yeah, well, I can't say much about that. So after that, who y'all got to help me? I can't remember who came out to go against John Cena for the Bloodline.
The Rock did.
The
Yeah,
Rock.
The Rock came out.
The Rock. So
Yeah.
it was a rematch or a standoff from previous WrestleManias in the past.
Mm-hmm.
The Rock ends up I think he did a rock bottom on John Cena.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so Cena got rid of Solo, and then Rock got rid of Cena.
And then all of a sudden, here comes
The Dead Man.
The Undertaker. Undertaker comes out. Autograph.
Yeah.
Undertaker picture there.
Nice.
So the Undertaker comes out to take care of The Rock. And then the Undertaker just kind of disappears to where Cody can get the pinfall. 1, 2, 3. I've read this week, just like y'all have, that the Undertaker was kind of a last-minute substitute for Stone Cold because Stone Cold and WWE, TKO, whoever, couldn't come to agreement on financial terms for Stone Cold to appear. Regardless, is this not one of the best main events of a WrestleMania ever, Jeremy?
I'd say it's very good. I think, yeah, it's up there. Here's my only question, and I loved it. Got the result we wanted, everything else. But I know that, could this match stood alone without interference from either side?
Yes.
I say yes as well. And so I understand why the Bloodline's running in as they have throughout Roman's title reign. They're running in, and I get it that we got to have an equalizer. I just feel like they go, hey, let's see if we can get the biggest stars we can get to show up on Cody's behalf, and no rhyme or reason behind it. I would have liked it. I would have been more on board with Randy Orton coming out there, or a Ross.
I think that's true, Jeremy. I don't want to interrupt you. Go back. I think that's true until we tie back the whole Roman Reigns shield, and he chooses to hit Seth Rollins instead of Cody. I think that little moment to me.
So to Randall's point, and I think in our recap there, Howie, we didn't mention when Seth came out. So
I forgot all about Seth coming out.
So that's so Randall's point, that was probably the most pivotal piece right there. Is that Seth? There's that brewing between between Roman and Seth is still there, and it actually cost Roman the title right there. Would you agree? Instead of hitting Cody, finishing Cody, he hit Seth. So I like where that's going because I could watch another Roman Reigns Seth Rollins match in the future and stuff. But Undertaker, anytime Undertaker's there, I'm in. I'm all in on that. But I think the match could have stood by itself. I think those two could have put a match that would have still been considered one of the greatest ever, and it's just those two. So I think back to the Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, which wasn't the main event in, what was that, 28, 29, somewhere in that neighborhood. But they put on two unbelievable matches back-to-back years, and there wasn't no interference. It was just two guys out there that were very good at what they do, and I think we have that with Roman and with Cody as well. So I would have been completely happy had there not been any outside interference at all. Maybe they had a stipulation that actually prevented the bloodline from being, whatever it may be. And, it was bloodline rules. Why not do a Hell in a Cell and nobody gets in? And, that's overdone. I get it. But I think it was stood alone by itself. But it was fantastic. What a great moment. It's all about stories for me. And this is one of the best stories. And we barely ate last year why Cody didn't go over. It, as you look at it now, it was well worth the wait because I think it made this moment that much bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll turn it over to Randy.
4 Crossroads.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's not about, and I completely agree with what everybody's saying. It's about what happens from the 4 Crossroads to the end of to the end of WrestleMania that makes this special to me. This was like an old-fashioned NWA title change, and I could see Cody putting that on it. It was charging the ring with LA Knight and of course Seth Rollins and all the guys from the back, Randy Orton and Cody being carried out. Mama Rhodes come up and presents the belt to her, and to me, watching the last 10 minutes of this after the match, and watching the crowd, and knowing what I felt, man, I'll be honest, I had tears in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the WWE, but I love Cody Rhodes. And I really do think somewhere deep down inside of Cody Rhodes, there was some legitimacy to this. Want to give my family the WWE title. Because think about it. That family's got, 50 years invested in the WWE, and no one had ever held the WWE title. I really thought it ended great. And I also will give them compliments. Triple H is a genius.
Mm-hmm.
He have so many storylines. He took their biggest storyline, squashed it, and splintered it into what may be 2 or 3 of the best storylines ever, which is one of them's going to be how does Cody pay back Seth Rollins? That's got to happen down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Where does Paul Heyman go? Friday night, that become a big issue. You're going to make a star in Solo Sikoa now. You're going to bring Tama Tonga in, and you're going to bring Jacob Fatu in, and you're going to have a new bloodline. You've got Cody Rhodes now, who, as he said it the other night, is no longer the chasee, but the chaser.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the 15 minutes, The Rock with Cody and whatever he handed him in his hand.
Yep.
Will be the emphasis to the next level of WrestleMania. Triple H is so much better than Tony Khan or Vince McMahon. And I don't know if it's just Triple H or it's the fact he's got guys around him helping him book it. But it was just booked perfect, man. It was the best book WrestleMania ending ever. And it wasn't none of this cartooning. Hogan hits the Ultimate Warrior with one leg drop and pins him. It was a war. It was a legit fight. It was very Von Erich in its booking that it felt like a legitimate fight. And like I say, I'll never say I like the WWE, but that WrestleMania, the last hour, is the best wrestling I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
Do you think that Triple H? Sorry, Jeremy.
No, it's okay.
You think Triple H is so good at this because he's actually listened to the fans?
Mm-hmm.
I think Triple H is so good at this because he sat under Vince McMahon for 25 years and listened to no, and it feels like someone's gave him some freedom.
Yes.
Yeah, and again, the last time the WWE booked something that felt this natural was Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
So It was a good job. I'm not going to pour over that it was the greatest match because it wasn't. But there's the greatest storyline might have been.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I love the story. The story is what got me. And I listened to an interview. I think Triple H was on Pat McAfee, and he said several things, and some of which were inflammatory to another company, to another talent. But one of the things he talked about was stories. Stories are what get you there, and what invest people. And so I told you guys I was sitting last Sunday night. I wasn't able to watch the first night, so I thought, well, okay, I'm going to watch the first night on Sunday night. And my daughter, who, I took her to shows when she was little, not really ever been invested in it. She texted me. She's like, "Oh my gosh, are you watching this right now?" I can't. She said, "We're jumping up and down and screaming and stuff." And I said, "No, don't tell me anything." Because I wanted to get through night one. I didn't care to find out after night one was over. I didn't care to find out, and I did. I knew, but that tells me a lot for somebody that's not really that invested in it, and they get that excited about it. It's a great story. And Cody, man, Cody is just, he's amazing. And to think that he pigeonholed himself and he's getting slammed through burning tables, Howie, in AEW. We witnessed it, right? We saw it. I will say this. Him coming out with Brandy is never a bad thing. But his entrance.
And dog, I could go the rest of my life and never see either one of them.
Yeah. But their entrances, the entrances were both just part of that production. The entrance Sunday night to me didn't do for me what 2 years ago when he came back to WWE. That was the entrance for me when he came up out of that floor, and I was like, yes, and that music hit and that crowd goes nuts, singing along.
There's part of just being a professional. And
yeah.
If you watch Roman Reigns and The Rock, they just don't roll out of the ring and roll out. They're at distraught all the way back, and they're still back at the entrance talking about. They made it real.
Yeah, and credit to Roman Reigns too as well. And I know people criticize that, well, yeah, he's defended the title like 5 times a year for the last 3 years, and credit to him for showing up in probably the best shape I've ever seen Roman Reigns in as far as his physique is concerned, and for being a professional. Hey, and for doing the job in the center of the ring, 1, 2, 3. So I loved it. Here's what I'm afraid of. One of these days, my bucket list, I want to go to a WrestleMania. At the rate that they're going, I need to start saving money for 10 years from now to afford it, because tickets, the popularity keeps increasing. Who knows? Who knows? Right? Great show.
So you brought up a point, Jeremy. Talking about the story of Cody Rhodes. It's not just a WWE story. It's an AEW story. It's a New Japan story. It's all this stuff. Me and Randy first saw Cody Rhodes at AEW in Huntsville take a whipping from MJF. Belt whipping. I mean, it looked rough. Then, a few months later, we saw him go through a burning table. He's done all this stuff to get to this point here. And nobody should ever say that Cody Rhodes hasn't paid his dues to get to this point.
Right. That's right. Hey, look, he's done it. He could have, as a EVP in AEW, he could immediately put himself in the title picture. He could have been the inaugural winner of the AEW World Title. He could have held it multiple times. He could have put himself in whatever, but he didn't do it. And he paid his dues, and he worked behind the scenes. And I just love the fact when he left WWE the first time is that he didn't quit. He didn't go, well, it didn't work out. He put it in full gear. And I loved, I don't know if you guys remember, he took a picture of his list of opponents and things that he wanted to do. And he put that on social media right away. I mean, it wasn't long after that he left the WWE. Great story. Cody was in great shape as well. Showed up on Monday Night Raw in a three-piece suit, looking only as he could look, looking like a professional, looking like a champion, talking like a champion. So hats off to Cody. I'm excited to see where this thing goes. There's a lot, like Randall said, we took one storyline and split it into multiple. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
You know, it's going to be hard to leave that title on Cody. It is. A face champion is never as enthralling to me as chasing a face chasing. To me, I'm more excited about the possibility of some new faces in a new feud within the bloodline. I'm actually excited at the thought of maybe putting Roman back with the Usos to feud against Solo in his new bloodline. I'm also excited about somewhere down the road we're going to get Cody versus The Rock, and I'm interested to see if Rock will walk in and do the right thing, which is put Cody over. So there's going to be some storylines. Got to find Cody some credible contenders. Go
ahead, Randall. I'm sorry.
We all keep looking towards Gunther, but I think you make Gunther a world champion. You've got to get Cody's contenders out of the Randy Orton, LA Knight, Styles, Finn Balor. You've got to take these guys and make them credible threats to Cody.
So I would be interested in because there's a history there. I'd be interested. I think Orton's got one more. I think he's got one more title reign in him. I'd be interested to see a Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes.
Me too.
Cody versus his mentor match. AJ and LA Knight both. Tell me they won't kill it. Either one of them in a match together. It'd be fantastic match. So a lot of good things. Look, it's made me set my DVR now to make sure I'm watching SmackDown and Raw again. And I hadn't done that in quite a few years, to be honest with you. I was watching AEW every time it came on.
I'll be back.
Say again.
Be back in January.
Yeah, that's right. Part-timer here.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see kind of like what Randy said as far as the face or the good guy is never really great as a champion. You always want him to be the chaser, not the chasee.
Right.
But I think he can work with Cody Rhodes because everybody loves Cody Rhodes.
He is a baby face's baby face.
Hey, so with that being said, yes, no doubt he's a baby face. No doubt he is the ultimate baby face right now.
And I can actually see other baby faces coming after him, and him still being put over because he's like y'all just said, the baby face of baby faces.
So I know it's way out there in the future, but if you got an extreme baby face like Cody Rhodes, I also know that Cody Rhodes would be a great heel as well. And I know that's far in the future, but a Cody Rhodes heel turn later on, I can see that.
If for those that didn't see heel Cody, ROH New Japan,
it was good.
Very good.
Yeah, he could do it.
The thing I like about Cody, and it goes back to a lot of my old school wrestling stuff. He's dressing the way a champion should dress.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing the things the champion should do. The Ric Flairs, and all these other coming out in suits and being dressed up. I wasn't a fan of Hogan coming out in just his wrestling gear week in and week out.
Mm-hmm.
I like seeing, it's kind of like being royalty. You got to dress for success type deal, and Cody does that.
Yeah. And I'll bring somebody else up who's actually a SmackDown general manager, but one Nick Aldis, who still dresses that way, by the way. But back a few years ago when I was actually watching the NWA, him showing up in a three-piece suit holding that 10 pounds of gold, to me, made that title and that company that much more credible as him being that world champion there. And so, yes, I agree with you, Howie. That old school vibe, it matters to me. It really does.
So here's the question of the night, guys. Give me your overall rankings for both nights. Start with Jeremy since he turned away real quick.
So what do you mean rankings? So are we going 1 through 10? 5 stars? What are we doing?
However you want to do it. Overall, both nights together, not night one this, not night two that. Overall, your rating of this WrestleMania.
I mean, I'm going to give it, hey, look, I'm going to give it 5 stars, and here's why. Not in addition to the great matches that were on the card, and we've discussed the ones that were less than, the production itself, you can tell the difference now with Endeavor and that whole group and some of those production changes. I get it was, to me, overall, it was my most enjoyable WrestleMania, and I didn't get to sit and watch it from start to finish. I did it in segments, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm not going to say it's the greatest ever as they are promoting, but I'm going to say it's one of my favorites of all time.
Okay, let me put you on the spot. What is your greatest WrestleMania ever?
Let's see, what would that be? 28 or 29, and here's the reason, and it's only because I'm not deep into the fandom, I'm not way down there, but those two Undertaker Shawn Michaels matches, to me, the rest of that Mania did not matter, because to me they were so good, and those were my favorite too. I think it's 28 and 29. I may be off. It's late 20s. But those 2 years, to me, they carried the WrestleMania, and that's the moment. That's that Cody winning the title moment for me, was those 2 matches.
Okay, Randy, your thoughts.
Well, 3 was great, and everybody thinks of Andre Hogan, but you got to remember you had Steamboat there too. You had Piper, Adonis. 28, 29, both were great. The Rock versus Stone Cold 2 was a great WrestleMania. But I'll go ahead and say it. This is the best WrestleMania ever. And here's why I'm going to say that. If we look at how wrestlers have been treated over the years, it's all about the main event. It's been all the money went to the main event. The crowd is drawn with the main event. While Hogan, and you got to remember, you got to listen to what I'm saying. While Hogan Andre may have had a little bigger general public build-up, I don't know if Cody Roman didn't have the bigger build-up in the wrestling world. Can Cody finish the story? And I mean, buddy, I'm watching the Pat McAfee show. It's on there. It's on Jimmy Kimmel.
Yes.
It's on everything going on, just like Andre versus Hogan was. But if you talk about Andre versus Hogan and Cody versus Roman from a wrestling match, it's no contest.
Right.
I can think of deeper and better WrestleManias, but at the top, I mean, dude, I had tears in my eyes.
Yeah.
That's what we watch wrestling for, is to be moved emotionally.
I didn't have the tears, but I did have the chill bumps, the goosebumps, whatever, when Cody did win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
with that being said, I've heard a little bit of both good and bad, positive, negatives on this. Y'all's thoughts on Samantha Irving announcing the cashing in of the Money in the Bank and then Cody Rhodes winning the championship. Do y'all think she overplayed it, or was that emotion exactly what needed to be?
I didn't.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Randall.
I didn't like it. You know, they said she was legit crying when Cody won. Your job's not to cry. Your job is to be the ring announcer and to finish that moment. And part of me as a fan was you going, and new, undisputed, not hearing you sob. I mean, I'm pretty sure she did a good job, but that just took away from it for me.
Jeremy?
I liked. I think the legit, because if I'm understanding correctly, she never knows the result, or what the result's going to be, or to a certain extent. So I think it's an emotional moment for everybody. You had other roster members coming out there and lifting Cody up, putting him on their shoulders. You had people in the crowd crying, fans. You had Randall crying at his house.
Tears in my eyes.
I think crying, tears in your eyes, it's the same thing. I liked it. Now I have concerns for Samantha, because I think she's going to tear her voice out and not be able to talk in 5 years. I did like the emotion of it. I can't get by thinking about Howard Finkel, who I think is probably the all-time greatest ring announcer. And I would love to hear Howard Finkel, who would be the professional in that situation, and announce that Cody was a new world champion. But Samantha Irvin, she's becoming a star.
She's very good. I just didn't like that moment. I thought it.
Yeah.
I think look. If you're there to tell the storyline, you can't be the mark.
True. So take attention away from where the attention should be.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do get that. And
that was an attempt. That was making that moment about her, not Cody.
Yeah, but I don't think I don't think that was a conscious thing on her part. I don't think that was her. Well, watch this. I'm going to do this and draw it. I don't think that was a conscious thing. I really think that's just how she felt at the moment. And hey, look, if you get that emotional, are you gonna be when you got to make that announcement right then? Are you gonna be able to collect yourself? No, I mean, it's gonna be tough to do.
Give me the chance.
Give
me the chance.
No!
I would have broke into the badass Billy Gunn line.
All right, guys. We've been on here for quite a while, hour and a half now, so we'll move on, get on out of here, and I would say join us on the next show, but we're not sure when that will be. But we'll
next
get
week
as soon as possible. So, last remarks, Jeremy.
Hey, it's nice to have wrestling, man. It's hot, and me and Randall got in a back and forth this week on AEW, and you know what, wrestling wouldn't be what it is right now without those two companies in existence, without AEW, without WWE, and it's made wrestling better. Period. And I like what Edge said on Dynamite, and he said, "Look, just be a fan, enjoy wrestling," and I believe that. And so, it's a good time. Good time to be a wrestling fan.
All right, Randy, your last remarks.
Amen. Looking forward to All In. You know, we've got it coming up in about 4 months, and I fully expect Will Ospreay to be at the top of that card, maybe shooting for the AEW World Championship. So, looking forward to that, and I think that would be a moment to see Will Ospreay become a world champion and on native soil that could rival this. So, I'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the last time they were over there was a little bit of controversy backstage. So we'll see what happens this time.
You think?
Not settle this.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah,
controversy creates cash.
That'd be crazy if Vince McMahon shows up over there at All In. That'd be nuts.
That would be fun.
I'm dead.
So, everybody's getting kind of crazy right now. Jeremy's busy on the road, working and everything. Randy's recovering from his surgery, hoping to come off the IR pretty soon. I've got some stuff going on with kids and all that. So we'll try to get you another show out this coming week. I'm not going to say what it's going to be about because I have no idea and don't even know when it's going to happen because it may be another week before we do it, and who knows what's going to happen in wrestling between then. So just stay tuned to River City Media. We will make sure that everybody knows what's going on, let you know what the next show's going to take place.
The only goal was to get back to a regular schedule.
Yeah.
We're hoping to very soon. It's the spring is here. Summer's just right around the corner. Everybody's really busy during this time because you can actually get out and do things that needs to be done. But also stay tuned here on River City Media on Monday night at 6 o'clock Central Time, 7 o'clock Eastern. You have Beyond the Booth, and this week the guest will be Coach John Tidmore from the Collinsville Panthers, the boys and girls basketball coach.
Yes, sir. We've kind of adopted the Fife Red Devils sports show too. Make sure you look for River City Media. That will be rebroadcasting that too.
Yeah, we'll be should be in our schedule. We wrestle with the same thing, no pun intended, that we do with being able to get together. Kind of have a good time on that. We not that we don't hear it's a different storyline. I like to rant a little bit on that one to offset Adam's professionalism. So, got to counterbalance that.
So Randy, it sounds like you don't have a good time with us. He has more fun over at the other place.
No, that's not what I said. I love this show.
He's keep wearing that CM Punk stuff. He'll be looking for a new wrestling gig.
Hey, come on, man. Come on.
Fired everywhere he goes, so that's all I'm saying.
Getting fired? I ain't got fired from nowhere.
CM Punk did.
Oh, well, yeah, CM Punk, yeah.
So, great show, guys. Enjoyed it. So join us next time. Stay here to River City Media on Facebook. Jamming that dance.
Woo!
Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. You can follow Jeremy on Twitter as well, or X, whatever you can call it. Randy's on Twitter and X. I'm on there as well. They post a lot more than I do. So, but looking forward to the next show. Join us next time. We'll let you know what it's going to be about. So, join us next time when you might hear Randy say,
"It's time to get a pain pill." Let's let.
Good night. God bless.
Woo!